Welcome to the Arcfluence Podcast, where we talk about how design impacts the way we live, work, and invest. I'm Nick Caracan, your host, and with me today is my co-host and business partner, Paul Fatkins.
Good morning, good afternoon, almost good morning, just past the morning. So,
what's the highlight of your day, Paul? Are we still doing that?
I got two things. One, it's kind of tied to the weather, but that also means that I can go drive my car that's been sitting in the garage all winter. So excited about the weather changing. That's one thing. And then the second thing, we've been actively shopping for this office space. So there's a potential one out there that, like anytime you're searching for a property, you always have these moments where you get excited. So knock on some wood. Usually when we did the house search in Chicago, it was 3 times we had to get excited and then be let down. So,
oh, Paul, you get your hopes up so easily.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited. So we'll see how that works out. But I am looking forward to, that potential coming
I agree.
through.
I think having an office space can be really great for the company, and we're going to have a really nice podcast studio in there also.
Yeah. But yeah, let's say that falls through, then I'll just take a spin in my car and I'll still be set.
There you go. You got a backup plan.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, today's episode is exciting. We're going to talk about some luxury elements. Also, just I don't want to say the word trend. I'm reluctant to do that, but it kind of is. Just some of the patterns that we're seeing being requested by clients for their primary and secondary vacation homes that we're seeing on the luxury market.
It's not necessarily something that that we're talking about in terms. Yeah, like when you say trend, it's like everybody everywhere is doing it. It's popular and people want it. Right. This episode, I think, is more geared towards some unique aspects that we've seen requested recently from our clients and the projects that we're working on specifically.
And more importantly, these elements that we're going to be covering are adding value to these higher end luxury homes too. And I think it's important to think about some of these aspects when you're spending a lot of money in that investment or, second home.
Yeah. So yeah, which project do you want to start with? Do you want to run down the list, or do you want to start somewhere specific? We're talking about 4 different properties.
Yeah, we got a couple lake houses in there. So let's kind of dive into this. And we're in Columbus, Ohio, but we're seeing a huge push for indoor outdoor living, which is not something that we've typically seen, and we're starting to get a lot more of that, in my opinion, right? Or at least elements of architecture that are supporting that type of living.
Yeah, so I actually did an internship out in New Mexico when I was in school. And, out on the West Coast, obviously the weather is incredibly different from the weather and climate here. So there it was a very common thing. Like we were doing these bathhouses and outdoor pool, sauna, situations where the residence blends into all the outdoor amenities and space, and it's just everything's one thing connected, right? But I mean, the weather there was phenomenal compared to here.
So what do you think's driving that? I mean, I know we're getting a lot of people from Florida, California, Texas moving to Central Ohio. Is it just
I think that's part of it. I think the other thing to consider as well, again, talking about what people are doing nowadays, I think experiences are valued a lot differently now than they were a few years ago. So yep. I think part of it is people are just looking at their living situation and the amenities that are, that come with their house, and they want all of these amenities so that they can entertain and they can have a space to go and watch the game outdoors as they're barbecuing or whatever, right? Or a pool to have a dip in during the summer months. They want those experiences and amenities at their fingertips. And, when the weather's right, they'll use them. Sure. Obviously, our climate is very different from the West Coast.
Well, I'm saying this right after the biggest snowstorm Ohio's had in a decade, but
yeah.
Typically, the winters are fairly mild. At least they've seemed to be up until recently.
Yeah.
And today's it's 65, and we're in February.
Yeah. Well, middle of February, but yeah. I mean, it's like I said, it's a warmer day.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm excited about taking my car out of the garage.
So what are these elements that we're seeing that's creating these or supporting these spaces of indoor outdoor living?
Well, the one project and the one specific example. So, like Nano, I think Nano Doors is the one like brand name, door company. I forget what the door company that our particular client is using.
Oh yeah, that was a big door system. It was a 32-foot span.
It's,
Something like that?
no, it was almost 40 feet,
Okay.
38.
Okay.
So, almost a 40-foot opening, basically.
And this is just a door assembly system where we have a steel supporting header above, and this door system opens up completely, basically exposing the entire dining living room of the.
So it's a panelized system. So you have, I think it's like, because again, it's a 40-foot, I think there's 8 or 9 panels. So decent number of panels, but there's a track system, top or bottom, depending on how it's structured. So it's either hung or it's like the weight is supported from below. But each panel pops out and folds, and they're also called like accordion doors, where everything will like then fold and slide together
And kind of nest on one side of the walls.
or like you can open it from the middle and then it'll nest left and right.
Okay.
Or you can have it slide completely down to the one side.
And these are all, I mean, I think they have to be tempered glass, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's basically floor to ceiling glass almost.
So these are very well constructed, well insulated, and also
Yeah. So we did a project in Los Angeles, speaking of West Coast. It was a high-rise tower out there. And on the pool amenity deck, they had both of the, so there was a large amenity space with, like a co-working area and then other spaces to like hang out and lounge, and a kitchen area that was right off of the pool. And you had these doors that, same thing, you would basically fold them up and open them up, and it would just be indoor, outdoor, open. Everything would be open and exposed. But I mean, like, yeah, like the doors are incredible, like to see in person, because like it completely transforms the space. I mean, like when it's closed, everything's secure, you can have it heated and cooled, but like if the weather's perfect, open it up.
I do remember the conversation being too, is when we have outdoor spaces, we'll have areas that are exposed to the elements, and we'll also have covered outdoor spaces, like covered porches that are protected. So we have a little bit more diversity there. And I think these floor to ceiling glass door systems are really necessary too, to a certain extent. When say your indoor space is adjacent to a covered porch, you're blocking some of that natural light that's coming in. So when you have more window exposure, it's going to help balance that situation.
I mean, you're still talking about again, almost a 40-foot expanse of glass, and it's panelized, so you have dividers there, but I mean, essentially it's still open when it's not open. Obviously it's able to be conditioned space and all that, but yeah, you still have a tremendous amount of natural light and a tremendous feeling of openness, even when the system is fully closed.
And obviously we're being thoughtful about the lighting systems we're putting in there, which we'll actually get to at some point on our list here. But I still think natural light is something we can't ignore. I think that's super important.
And again, the investment just in the door. I mean, the door alone. We're not talking about install cost or shipping or anything like that. Just for the door, $40,000 price tag.
Yeah, and
that's cheap.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I think our client got a end of the year sale deal on it. So
I do think it's smart. Like if you are planning some of these projects, like. The build might only take 9 months, but
he was talking to the manufacturer 6 months ago.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you plan ahead, there are definitely seasonal deals that you can get some of these custom products.
Yeah.
And actually save money.
Yeah. So, just again, like I think it's interesting that we're actually doing a single family home essentially. I mean, it's a lake house, luxury house that's basically used as a secondary, kind of like vacation spot. But I mean, like for me, I use this type of door system on a high-rise tower in downtown Los Angeles.
Yeah.
That was the last time that I used this door system, and now we have it on this lake house near Columbus, Ohio.
So that's what I'm saying. Traditionally, it's been more of a commercial application, right?
Or very high-end luxury
yeah.
residential. Yeah. So again, think West Coast, great weather, because you can take advantage of it all the time. So think like Tucson, Arizona, or Tempe or Los Angeles. You have like a $2 million, $5 million mansion in Los Angeles, you're going to have something like this
Yeah.
in that mansion.
And I'm seeing that over and over again. We're getting a lot of West Coast folks who are moving here wanting that look and feel and that lifestyle.
Yeah.
So what are some of the amenities, once we walk through this door, what are some of the amenities we're seeing outside, just to finish this conversation with indoor-outdoor living?
I mean, obviously you have like a whole secondary kitchen and set up to do everything that you can do inside, outside.
Yep.
In terms of eating and entertaining. You know, you have bars and refrigerators and cooktops and.
Yep. Additional seating areas, TVs.
Obviously, if you're entertaining, you have a TV or something as well. Multimedia center.
Where we do have the double tiered decks, which are, are for a couple of these projects. We're seeing a gaming area as well.
And access to the yard and the lake as well. So you have, stairways that access lower levels and things below. Yeah, it's multi-tiered, and you can then also access the yard and the lake from that point. And usually there's a boathouse that goes along with the outdoor stuff as well, so you can walk down to your boat and head out on the lake.
I know in previous years we've seen more of these like barrel saunas or like freestanding saunas that were out on these deck structures, but now we've had a few requests where these saunas are now moving, as part of the perimeter of the pool house, where it's part of that accessory structure, not this freestanding thing that's sitting out in the open.
I was going to say, you're jumping ahead to some of the other projects.
Okay.
In this particular case, there's no sauna necessarily or anything like that, or pool or anything like that. But some of the other ones we'll talk through.
So let's move on.
Yeah. So do you want to stick with the lake house theme, or you want to jump to the pool now?
Oh, I like the pool. Let's go there.
Okay. So we have another project. It's basically a full renovation of the house, addition. They're doing a whole separate detached structure, along with a basically in-ground pool within the yard. So this accessory structure, it's a garage, it's a gym, and we have other amenities that are serving the pool area, like the sauna, pool storage, mechanical room. Outdoor kitchen. Now, obviously, this is a site that's in the Columbus jurisdiction. So we're dealing with Columbus zoning, Columbus building department.
That's right. You made an interesting discovery the other day talking to the city.
So rules apparently differ for now. Obviously, if we're doing a luxury build, in-ground pool is the way to go, 100%. So but I never like to assume anything. Do you know why?
Lot coverage?
No.
It makes an ass out of you.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, great.
I think that's okay to say, hopefully. If not, Danny will bleep it.
There you go.
But basically, I never like to assume. So, you're like, oh, why are you reaching out to the client to confirm it? And, so anyway, in-ground pool was confirmed. Once that was confirmed, it's like, okay, great. The city's like, it doesn't count towards lot coverage. It doesn't count towards any
setback, which is huge because that's where we wanted to put the pool.
Yeah. If we had to place it further up, it impacts everything.
Well, they wouldn't have a backyard. And then we'd impact the turnaround on their driveway, and they want to basically have, when they park the cars, they don't want to have to back out this long driveway.
Yeah. Everything gets constrained on the site. Everything's tighter. Obviously, when we're doing a project like this, you're maxing out the site, you're maxing out the potential usually, in terms of lot coverage and setbacks. Like you're pushing the limits of things, because again, you're trying to make the most out of what you're putting into it. And there's a lot of amenities and supports things, especially if you have a pool. And again, like this carriage house / whatever you want to call it, right? Amenity space essentially is helping to support all this outdoor activity and outdoor, space that we're putting into it. So having it in the rear and having it not count towards coverage in the rear and being able to put it there is huge.
Yeah. Another thing we're exploring on this project is a outdoor covered space. I don't want to call it a pavilion, but it's basically adjacent to the outdoor kitchen space that's adjacent to the pool. So I think that there's just a lot of this is truly a very functional out space where we have a small deck area for lounging and getting some sun, coming down into the yard space that's fenced in, where there is a pool area, outdoor kitchen, covered dining area, and then all these amenities there are adjacent to or built in rather to the accessory structure, like your pool storage, your sauna, and those types of things.
Bathroom,
shower.
Yeah, stuff basically needed for entertaining, and stuff that makes having the pool, having access directly from the pool area to this accessory structure is like paramount. Without having to go back into the primary residence for everything.
And your private home gym.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be a great project. I'm glad that we were able to kind of get around that zoning requirement. And again, obviously we're doing an in-ground pool because of the quality of the build and what they're looking for. But I mean, again, that just made everything so much easier in terms of maxing out the potential of that site.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Back to the lake.
This one just started recently. So it's incredibly interesting for me because, there's HOA to deal with because pretty much any lake house in this region has some type of like pretty strict design review, process to go through. But for me, the topography here is extreme, right? In the Columbus area, how many sites have topography of any significance? And what's the difference like front to back?
Paul, and
10 feet, 20 feet?
Right. So just to put this in perspective, extreme for Paul's definition is about 80 feet in this case.
No, it's closer to 100.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So front to back, it's 80 to 100 feet of height difference. And that's across like 100 some. So it's like a 45-degree slope.
Yeah. And this is to lake access and then basically to street access.
Yeah. I mean, you're not, when you have a slope that extreme, you're not running up and down it. Honestly, like some of the most extreme ski slopes are like in the 50 to 60 degree range, and we're not far off of that. And when I say extreme, I'm talking about like your Olympic athletes are going down these slopes,
right? So let's talk about those concerns. I mean, we've kind of discussed through this already, and we're not really concerned about the stairs that we're designing that are leading down to the lake and the boathouse. What seems to be a concern, and
even the initial conversations around having a couple of guys out that deal with foundations exclusively.
And I think that was the big red flag. Yeah. It's not necessarily designing this and how we can make it work. That's actually the easy part. It's finding the right subcontractor to do the work in a cost-effective way.
Yeah. I mean, people were coming out to see the site and they were just like, I don't even know if I can do a foundation for you here.
Right.
I don't feel comfortable building a foundation for the house here.
Well, I also think that when you're in regions where this situation's more common, you're going to have contractors who have more experience doing these things. So, you don't get, not every contractor you talk to has had experience with this sort of build.
Well, and obviously it's been done. There's a house directly on each side of the lot. There was a house on the lot before that got demolished. I mean, it's not like things cannot be built here. I mean, you have houses that are built on the side of, mountain sides all the time, all around the world.
Yeah. Just not in Ohio.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, the slope, I would consider this to be like, mountain grade terrain in terms of the slope, the drop off top to bottom.
And for me, it's that's exciting because our clients truly have a unique lot on their hands. Granted, there might be some additional cost in developing the lot and resolving these challenges, but I think it's worth it.
Well, I mean, obviously there's going to be some cutting into, so usually when you're working with topography like this, you definitely don't want to do anything on fill. You want to try to avoid that as much as possible. So you don't want to bring anything into the lot. If anything, what you're doing is you're cutting into the hillside and then you're building on undisturbed soil, as you cut into the hillside. We're probably going to end up cutting in at least 2/3 of the footprint into the hillside, I would imagine. Yeah. And then basically what results is from the front of the house to the back of the house, easily, if not more than one level, I mean, it might even be like 2 levels worth of height difference front to back of house. It's probably like a level and a half.
So when you look at the house from the road or from the development, it looks like a single family home when you're on the
it looks like a ranch from the street.
Yeah, right. A single story home.
And then you go to the back and it's 3-4 levels.
It's not going to be 4. In this case, it's going to be 2 levels.
I get 100% 2. Honestly, it might be more, Nick. It might be 3.
I think we're going to shoot for 10-foot ceilings. Once we get into it in section, we can see how that goes. But
yeah,
if we do 10-foot ceilings, I mean, they're not interested in doing 3 levels.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We'll see how it goes. So we're early on, like I said. I think 15 to 20 feet front to back difference.
Yeah.
So if we're doing a 10-foot ceiling.
So let's talk about some of the opportunities when we are on a hillside from a design standpoint.
Walkout basement.
Exactly. Full exposure, walkout basement that will seemingly feel like a standard regular story and not a basement.
Yeah. I mean, it's in that situation, it's a no-brainer to do something like that. The other opportunity is as well on the level that's above, right, from the street side. When you enter in there, take advantage of the topography and, have a deck or something that extends out so that when you get to the outermost point or the backmost point away from the street side,
it feels grand.
Oh yeah, you're like elevated in the freaking tree canopy almost.
Yeah, you're floating and you're looking sometimes above the tree canopy.
Yeah.
Depending on where your trees are planted. If you go out 15, 20 feet before you plant.
We'll definitely have views out to the lake above trees that are below us.
Right.
And then obviously as you get closer to the house, the trees will be right. But I mean, like still, you're still going to be 20 feet easily, especially if you have a deck that extends out. You might be like 30 feet above the ground at that point, looking out over the lake with another 50 foot down to the lake.
I think that's when steel design becomes necessary and beneficial to the build.
I know Nino at his last place when he was up in Canal Fulton, he had that ravine in his backyard. Again, like not as extreme topography, but a pretty good drop off. And he wanted to build this deck.
That gazebo, yeah.
Well, he had it like triangular shaped, but he wanted to have it cantilever out, almost like you're walking from his backyard straight out. And then by the time you get to the end of the deck, again, you have 30, 40 feet of height difference from grade at the, up to the deck surface at that point.
And you feel like you're floating.
Yeah. So just a true immersion. It's really like at that point you feel immersed in the tree canopies almost,
I want to take some elements of this and put it into our development project down in Hawking. I think that this is perfect for that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And even so, Hawking has some decent terrain and topography. But yeah, your particular land, like I don't even think has quite that steep of a drop off. Yours is actually, you can actually hike and it's not that bad.
We have a valley there, but it's
I mean, you walked quite a bit of it, right? Like you can walk up and down the hillside without much difficulty.
There's about 100-foot difference in topography, but it might not be as steep as this particular case.
Yeah. In this case, as you're hiking around, if you're not using your hands, you might be slipping and falling. Oh. Like you have to use your hands to steady yourself because like literally you just right out to the side of you place your hand and you're touching ground.
Yeah. We're also talking about a much smaller parcel here.
Oh, well, yeah. Your land down in Hawking is, a lot of acreage.
Anyway,
yeah. We digress.
I digress. Any more elements that we can talk to in terms of architecture that impacts this type of design?
Obviously the footprint needs to be smaller because of the site. But that's kind of unique to this particular site. I just think for us, it's going to be very interesting to work around the terrain in this particular case. I think it's going to create a very unique property and unique home that stands out from a typical lake house.
Agreed. I'm excited to get into the orientation and exposures for those views because it's just quite beautiful down there.
Yeah. We can, so if you want to stick with we'll transition over to the last one that's like out in the forest.
Okay.
Right. So this one is more in the Hawking area. But it's kind of like a luxury getaway essentially from the city.
Talking about the A-frame?
Talking about the A-frame project. Yeah. Yep. Currently under construction. At some point we got to go back and check on our
camera.
Yeah. I did replace the battery, so we're good for a little bit. But we need to go down there probably like 2-3 weeks from now.
I don't want to get off track here, but those batteries were advertised to last a little bit longer.
Well, I mean, it was cold. It was pretty cold during the winter.
That's a good point.
And cold affects batteries.
Right.
Anyway, we should go back down and check on it.
Yep.
I think the last time I was down there, they were still they had finished the foundation work, so it should be coming up out of the ground at this point. Hopefully, we see some progress.
Yep.
Although they probably haven't done much over the winter, but it's out in the woods. I mean, it's a getaway out of the city. You just go into the woods basically.
Yeah, not far from the community center down in Hawking.
Yeah. What's nice about this one though, I mean, like it's going to be a very unique. It's not like a box single family house design, right? There's no walk-up basement or anything. It's just the overall structure is kind of unique, but then the outdoor space and the amenities that we're putting into the outdoor space so that you can truly be immersed in the forest, I think is what makes that project unique.
Yep. I like the third floor loft area. So that's unique to the property. Obviously the windows are custom and there's a lot of natural light double height spaces, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah. But again, it's staying with this theme of immersing yourself in this experience, right? So obviously our clients are in the city and they have residence here, and then this is just for them to basically get away and use for relaxation purposes.
Yeah, one thing about this project that I really like that we did intentionally is when you're pulling up to this lodge, you're seeing the entertainment side of things. So like the balcony space, the deck space, the tiered deck that's there, and those amenities, that is forward facing. There's so much privacy with these trees, and the driveway is fairly long that you have privacy off the road, so you don't see your neighbors.
Yeah.
So we're able to now put all this function and all these amenities forward facing as you're pulling in, so you see that front and center, which I think is really cool. The entrance to the home, like the front entrance, I'm doing air quotes, it's actually on the side of the structure, and you actually drive past it and pull off on the side, and that's where you walk into the main entry.
It's actually interesting. You're going to get, as you approach, you'll get this 3/4 view. I don't know if you remember from architectural history with Robeson, like that was like one of the things as you approach the temple.
I will always remember Robeson.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to get into that. So, but you would approach and you would have, with all your Greek temples, Roman temples, you would approach and you have your 3/4. So you'd see two sides of it. It's kind of like a similar experience here where you're approaching and you get a pretty grand and a pretty good understanding of the full thing.
What
that's
is the
there.
structure?
Everything that's there. This sanctuary in the forest.
Yep. No, I'm excited to see it realized.
Yeah, it'll be a great project. I can't wait until they're done and we get to see the final product.
It's also it has a rustic design, but it's also has this modern like sense of materiality and other elements that make it more of a modern, rustic build, which we haven't designed too many like this, so it should be really cool.
Yeah. And with that, we can come out of the forest back into the city. Yeah, for our last project.
Which one is that?
That is the house in Upper Arlington.
Ah.
Yeah.
This is a full new build on one of the few empty lots that's left in UA.
Yeah. Now, obviously, every jurisdiction has different requirements. Like you get down into the lake houses, they have their special HOA design review committees. Some places have like historic commissions to deal with. Others, some zoning requirements, like Columbus has some zoning pain points to go through. Upper Arlington, though, so again, we're maximizing the site here. All right. And as soon as you go over, I think it's 40 feet in length with any side wall, all of a sudden then you have to do, it's like in New York City, how they had like the wedding cake sky rises. Yeah. You start stepping back everything. So they don't want this big broad side to your residence. But obviously, if you're trying to maximize what you're putting on the site, you're probably going to have a 50-foot or a 60-foot length of wall front to back.
Yep.
So in this particular case, we did a side load garage. So the garage is not facing the street frontage. You'll have a beautiful,
and we did it almost out of necessity because of the narrowness of the lot, right? Yeah. And typically,
for me personally too, to see a garage door front and center.
I don't want to see garage doors when I'm looking when I'm driving by on the street. Yeah. I want to see how house details. I want some mystery, right?
Yeah, some whatever, some brick or some bay window or something architectural, right, sticking out. versus a big 2-door, 3-door garage, you know.
Yep. So let's talk about the details of this project. One of those details is an elevator, right?
Future planning for an elevator.
Yep.
So basically a space where you're not impacting and you can put it in at any point in time, but for the meantime, you use it as storage on each floor.
Yep. We're doing a lot of the common things that we see in a luxury home with this massive kitchen island. It's funny. We have had a lot of clients ask us about taking the sink and amenities out of the island and just having this plain open.
I don't know if I get their idea. Yeah. Having a plain open space for.
I agree. Yeah. But we can't deny that we've had that request multiple times now.
That is true. Yeah.
I will say this though,
but sometimes we've also had requests like, oh, I want to have the sink with a window looking to the backyard. And that's like a dated idea. But people, if they have it in their head, this is what I want. This is what they want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair. I think I like the compromises that I'm seeing also in some of these designs where in this particular house, we still put the sink in the island, but we made the island 5 foot wide or deep and then 10 foot in length. So I think sometimes folks are concerned about like having these items encroach on the people that are sitting on the other side of the island, right?
Yeah.
When an island is that big, it's not the case. It also really makes a statement. Have you ever seen a 5 foot by 10 foot island?
Yes, in a couple of the houses that we've done renovation work on.
What I'm saying is that's about the limit that you get to where you can find a slab that isn't going to cost you an arm and a leg, right?
Yeah, but it's quite large and does make quite a statement.
Yeah,
Yeah. There's been a couple of projects we've had, Nick, as well, where it's like the island's been 12 feet, in length. Like, again, significant islands for sure in these luxury homes.
And then when we get into these sizes, now we can start putting like cabinet and function on the sides of the islands too, right? Yeah. It's not just on either side; it's on all 4 sides.
Well, and I think the reason why islands are so critical in these kitchen spaces is because just the way the kitchen flows and having this thing in the center of the kitchen, maxes your utilization of the kitchen out, right? And even me personally, it's like we do a lot of, I know you have like this galley style. You really don't have an island just because of the limited space.
Love my kitchen though. Yeah, but I was limited in my small German village home.
But you still have a ton of countertop space. So you almost have, yours is like this, whatever, galley style, but the amount of countertop in prep area, and then you have that extension in the back, which is like
the scullery. The second kitchen is a game changer.
Yeah. So you have plenty of space based on how you laid it out. But for me, the island, like we're always doing stuff at the island. We're eating there. When we entertain, like we're having conversations around the island and hanging out. It's like the central glue within the kitchen, for all this activity in the kitchen.
And whenever I'm hanging out with friends, like that's where we hang out too. I would imagine that the adjacent dining space in this particular build, it's only going to be used when family's over, when we have large gatherings. I think a lot of their
Thanksgiving, Christmas, holidays. Yeah. I would agree. I find just because, again, like you get busy in the day-to-day stuff and the kitchen really becomes something you just lean into as your dining table or whatever space, right? You use that more often than you use your dining table.
Yep.
So,
I do like in this particular project, we have a fairly large pantry with a sink and a window. There's a lot of pantries we design that don't have that natural light component. And I think that's short-sighted in a lot of cases. I'm leaning back into the fact that I think every space, with the exception of maybe closets, should have natural lighting of some sort creeping in.
Yeah.
In some way.
Yeah, I know, again, like you said, a closet, right? Doesn't really make sense. But even in some cases, it
depends on the closet.
Yeah, and sometimes it's been existing closets where we're doing a renovation on one of these luxury homes. But there has been natural light in closets in cases.
Yeah.
It depends. But yeah, I think that's probably the only space where I would say it's not something that's needed. Everywhere else, if you can get natural light in, get it.
So, another cool feature of this home, and that I think we're seeing more on luxury spec or luxury homes in general, are the living space and the living the bedrooms with egress in the basement level. Because I can't recall off the top of my head, but I know we have at least 9-foot ceilings, possibly 10. I think it's 9 foot on this project though.
Yeah, but I mean, regardless, it's like, again, the common trend, like maxing out the space, not only on the site, but like within the house. So yeah, there's stuff on the basement, be it like a secondary family room, living room, secondary entertainment, game room space, or again, like living quarters, bathroom, bedroom.
A suite of rooms. So we have a Jack and Jill that's a bathroom that is being shared between two bedrooms.
It can function like as a guest suite, area where it's like your guest is completely separate from, your other area of the house.
Yep.
So
and because it's a basement, I'm always concerned maximize that ceiling height to make it feel as comfortable as possible.
Yeah. And then of course on this Upper Arlington house, again, that connection to indoor outdoor, like we're going to have a great access to the outdoor space with a large patio and outdoor amenities.
We also have a front facing porch. So we have options. Again, I love that covered component. I think that you can't overlook that. On a luxury home, you should have both. I like having covered spaces as much as possible because you can always add more patio, right?
Yeah. I mean, as long as you're covered, again, depending on jurisdiction.
Permeable pavers after the fact.
Yeah. Some it's weird. Like some places will count your patio as, like
it depends where you're at. Yeah.
So we had one, I think that was up here in Delaware County where it's like the patio was going to put over the lot coverage and they counted the patio.
Yeah.
But then another place, they're like, oh no, you can do whatever with the patio. You're fine. Yeah. It's just like the whole in-ground pool, above ground pool situation. Like we count it if it's this way, but if it's that way, we don't. It's like, okay, sure, whatever works.
I think the last thing on this project, I liked the conversation we had and the thoughtfulness behind the space above the garage. So at first it was, we want to have an apartment above the garage with this new ADU law, or lack thereof, needing a variance. They wanted to add a potential apartment above this garage, but that's turned into a potential future build out. So we're doing the rough-ins for the plumbing and the kitchen. And we are doing a mock-up layout for that space, but really there's a really cool connection point to that space through the primary suite's closet. So they have almost this secret passage from this very elaborate primary closet into this huge accessory flex space above the garage, which we're going to be doing a gym over there. But I just think it's a cool way to then connect the dots. It also has its own separate staircase to that space. But I love the fact that it has that connection with the main house so that they can, it truly is a flex space. So if you want to put like a steel rated door there to seal it off and truly make it a separate space, you can.
I mean, they could also wall it up at some point. Right? Yeah, they can do whatever with it.
But I like
the point is they have options.
Yeah, I like the fact he can get up, take a shower, go to his closet, put his gym clothes on, and then literally step into his gym in a completely isolated part of his house without even going into the common area of the space of the house. I think it's pretty cool.
So I think that wraps up the luxury talk. I wanted to ask you, so of all the things we've seen recently, what do you think is one thing that will carry down the road into the future? What do you think is the most common thing? Do you think this whole indoor-outdoor connection is going to stick?
In the respect that,
because again, like we're seeing more of that.
Yeah, only in the not because people want to be outdoors more, but because people want to entertain more. And I think that flexibility for entertainment and that desire to entertain is becoming a lot more prevalent. Yeah. At least in the properties we're designing with luxury homes.
I mean, I think that's the common thread through all of these projects is that there's a significant connection to outdoor space and entertaining.
I would also say, like, we're not going to dive into this too much, but the rise of quiet tech and other amenities, like not the sustainability of things, but more of the
like it's not in your face. It's like hidden, concealed, but
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah, these like where we can charge our phone on a countertop without actually having chargers out.
Yeah. You don't have a cable going somewhere.
And did you read that article where they have all the electrical outlets are taken care of down on this bank of on this panel downstairs, and then they have literally wireless buttons that they can then put around the house, and they're super clean and super customizable for all the lights.
Yeah. It's like almost like a command center.
Yeah.
So it's like this central hub of everything that's wired to one spot. And then so when you have, like if you have a luxury home that has like 5 or 6 different functions in one room, you don't have a bank of 5 or 6 different switches. It's like just this tiny little thing in the corner that you can control. You can do all this fancy control.
It's clean. Yeah. It's more flexible. I just think it's really smart. Yeah. We're going to see more stuff like that.
By the way, didn't we reach out to that company to see if they would come on as a guest?
Yeah, we have to follow up.
Yeah, we got to follow up with them. But I know what you're talking about. I mean, like some of the features that can go into some of these homes is next level, right? And
we didn't even talk about like zip walls or like more sustainable, not sustainable. I keep wanting to use that word, but more
resilient
ways to build a house.
That's the new, sustainability is a catchphrase or term that's been around for quite a while, but it's the same thing. Like you essentially want a space that's comfortable, right?
And also cost effective. Like with rising energy costs, it just makes sense to implement some of these more efficient systems.
But and if the power goes out for 2-3 days, you want your house to stay, habitable, to where you're not having your house be 100 plus degrees inside,
right?
Because the heat wave comes through, everyone's using power for air conditioning and your power gets dropped.
And again, the larger your house is, the harder it is to do that. So I think, investing a little bit more into these resilient strategies makes sense long term.
Yeah. Again, in the luxury sector, I think there's 10 different things that we could have episodes on, right? I think we kind of scratched the surface with some common things that we've seen on some of the projects recently. But I mean, overall, we could dive in. We could have a whole episode just on the lighting control center.
We're also going to bring in some of our contract partners to discuss, these things that we're starting to see more and more of, at least in our area, which is great.
Yeah. So I think that's a good place to wrap up this one.
All right. Well, we'll do that then. We'll wrap this up right now. And with that, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
This has been the ArcFluence Podcast. As always, you can get more information and additional content on arcfluence.com. Please subscribe on the platform of your choice and leave us a review. We'd love to hear from you.